Hello everyone, welcome to this game. Today what I have for you guys is a replay sent in by Explosive detailing a very funny Toby game. As you can see here, we have Toby on Elves starting this game off on good, and from what I know, we're going to have a lot of funny shenanigans happen this game. So looking at the players for this game, we have Speaker on Arphidane, Homie on Cardalin, Headcrash on Western Gondor, Explosive on Evilman, Kiwi on Amar, Ponzi on Misty Mountains, and Toby Elves. Starting off the game, we have Kiwi going in on Western Rudar, getting chased away by Speaker, Morgamir, and Witch King getting quite low. Meanwhile, Homie is going for an early Troll Shaws, and we can see Explosive on Evilman pushing Fruitman Hiriaf first. Toby is just kind of having the staring match with Bonsi, it seems, right now. But actually, no, Bonsi is not in the area. He actually already rotated over to Arphidane. Now, Toby is on his game here and is going to be rotating over to chase off Bonsi. Are planted firmly at North Downs. Meanwhile, on the South, Explosive continuing to push Minhiriaf. Homie's not actually anywhere to be found. No, he's down here, but Huntmaster is quite low, so he might not be able to defend this push very clearly. Walder did get a bit low there and it has to be recalled out preemptively. Probably a safe but not sorry strategy from Explosive. And yep, as you can see, he was going for Huntmaster there. Homie does have the good sense to run away, but he is actually going to walk back closer in, just trying to slow down this push a little bit. If he's not careful, he might be losing the Huntmaster here. You gotta be a little bit careful when you're going for greedy pokes like this. But the medic is quite low there. If Explosive isn't paying attention, Homie might be able to get up, but Austere also going quite low there. Homie might be risking his heroes quite a lot to try for that medic, and Explosive actually just recalls out that medic early as well. Playing very safe with the recalls. Meanwhile, Toby's sitting at Western Rudar, recalls out now, going to Minhiriaf to chase out Explosive. He actually grabs Moot Lord. It looks like Explosive was not paying attention. Also claims a medic. So starting off this game, Toby is not having the Froby moment. Instead, he is actually doing some pretty big plays. Granted, it's on Explosive who isn't looking, but nonetheless, that is a hero kill and a meta kill. And while Evil loses that in the west at Minhiriaf, Misty Mountains also botches a drop on Orphank, loses Gore Kill here to Headcrash. Also not the best sign for Evil. So already starting off this game at the almost not even 4-minute mark, Evil's already quite behind, losing 2 heroes and a medic in pretty bad circumstances. Kiwi is going to claim Western Rudar, of course. Speaker will not be able to save the spawn, although Kiwi should be a bit careful on Kamul. If Arrows goes off here, but Arrows does not go off. Unfortunate for Speaker. That should have been a Kamul kill. That last Argolev shot did actually bring him under 440 into arrow range. But I also feel like if Kiwi was a little bit more aggressive there, he actually could have went in and killed Argolev. We could see that Morgamir was on top of Argolev. If he didn't actually run back Witch King, which had plenty of HP, I think he could have claimed Argolev. He also did have a charge up as well, making that kill quite more attainable. Meanwhile, Toby is actually pushing down Explosive with the help of Homie. Yep, he is up here finishing off Troll Shaws from his earlier push. 5-minute Troll Shaws isn't the slowest. I think Homie did have to come back to defend from Troll Shaws, so that's why it was a little bit slow. Meanwhile, Toby is taunting Explosive here. Explosive, no doubt, a little bit tilted after being denied Moot Lord by Toby. Meanwhile, Western Rudar finally goes down to a poke by Golfin Bull. That does probably give Kiwi, he's still 1,150 away from Nazgul, so it's not guaranteed per se, but nobody actually goes for Dol Guldur as a strip anymore. It's really fallen out of the meta. Sometimes Western Rudar will double it with Elves, but if that's not the case, it tends to just live into the late game because there's no real impetus for good to attack it. It's very hard to deny Naz on Dol unless you're going in for a full commit. Meanwhile, Bonsi is going in again on Orphank. Headcrash does not have the first gas down on it, I'm pretty sure, although I'm not... Is the first gas Ranger Archer or Archer Durandine Warrior? I'm not quite sure, but we'll see in 40 seconds. Meanwhile, Toby comes over to deny Minhiriaf, but he is already too late. Mihiraf does go down. Explosive immediately maintains momentum, recalls into Wing Rider encampment to claim the Lord of Pen of Galen's life as he is stripping Wing Rider encampment. This is a very nice start of events for Evil, gaining back a little bit of the momentum that they lost. Keep in mind that Explosive is actually doing this while down a hero and not having Maz. 700 or more minerals to Nazgul. Explosive probably has Naz in the bag, but the Wing Rider is also mostly stripped, so he also can't just leave it. Homie and Toby going in for a combined strip up on the turrets above Ended Wife. I'm not really sure why they're doing it here. There's not much of a point in clearing all these out. They're spending a lot of massive HP for us. Homie has to be careful. His medic is going to get a bit low. Meanwhile, Kiwi is pushing into Speaker into North while Misty Mountains... nope, that's not Misty. That is Explosive's Mass running into Toby Elf. Mount Gunnerbag gas going off. Ended Wife gas going off. Mirkwood gas on Toby's end. This is quite interesting. Toby's going a little bit greedy, I see. Bonsi is starting to push down Elven King's Halls, and this does mean Toby won't be able to leave as easily going into the later stages of this game. But Gorkill is down on Bonsi's balls, so Bonsi really can't take engagements with Toby. Toby wins every 1v1 in the map currently, I believe. Maybe not against Kiwi, it's hard to say. I find that if Elves positions well, they can take Amar in a 1v1 fight, but they have to be well positioned. Amar has a slight edge. Eric's going for the Veilsman path. It does seem that, yep, Headcrash did grab the first gas on Orphank, so Courtier is probably not going to be denied this game, but Headcrash's hold is also going to be quite a lot harder with no Lord of Pen of Galen to help defend here. Granted, Explosive is going for a feed spawn, so if Headcrash fails to defend this, it's not the end of the world for him either. Meanwhile, Homie's actually going for the strip on Ended Wife from the top right path instead of the left. Explosive recalls over, and Smog also dies trying to dive a ARB at Orphank. Another loss on Bonsi's Hero Ball, losing all of that carry potential on Misty Mountains. Now it's just Rogas Grey Goblin, which means really Bonsi can only push spawns. They can't really take any actual hero engagements to speak of, which is not the best sign for Evil here. Evil's taking loss after loss. Going into a late game here, I'm not sure what they can do now. Kiwi still is a powerhouse. He has full ball plus decent Naz, so he can turn things around, especially if he claims Carping here, and yes, he will. That's Carping down, and Cars for the ball. Speaker was going for Morgamir there, but not quite. Ooh, Witch King does get caught by the force field. Has to be very careful there. I think any other hero getting caught there would have died, but since Witch King is a tanky beast, he does not. Franduel actually goes down here in this engagement with Explosive. He also misses Glorfindel, and Explosive takes revenge for the Moot Lord and Medic death from 5-10 minutes ago. Turning this game definitely around. Toby went from being able to 1v1 every ball on the map to only being able to 1v1 Misty Mountains, with only Galadriel, Celeborn, and Doran to his name. Now, he has plenty of money, so he can grab a new hero if he wants. But whether or not he is going to get Iwindle is still up to be seen. I would assume he's going to grab Iwindle in this case. It's a solid buy. He needs the hero power, but let's see what he does. Toby is so easy to outplay, Explosive says, taunting Toby. The Throby moment has finally come for Evil, giving them a semblance of hope in this really bleak situation. Or formerly bleak situation. Now it's not so bleak for them. I think it's still slightly good flavored, after all, but with Toby down a bunch, Evil has quite a lot more breathing room. Bonsi is continuously going on the double on Speaker, and Toby coming in late to the defense, but he should get here in time to stop most of this push. Meanwhile, Kiwi's actually sitting around here for some reason. They might be going for a Monsool into possibly an Evil Tharbad, or not Tharbad, Austin at heal. But Ethan Thoroughbred is not even down yet, so they will have to bust through quite a lot of good defenses to get that spawn. Meanwhile, Toby and Speaker are both in the area to contest Kiwi and Bonsi. I think this is definitely an evil favored engagement, especially with this mass, as long as Bonsi actually comes in to support Kiwi. What's Bonsi doing? Calporn taking a few pot shots, but overall not much. Kiwi loses quite a bit of mass there for not much of a reason. I thought Bonsi would be there to support him. Meanwhile, Explosive is rallying up to start pushing down Eastern Darbad. Adunabath has been added to his ball. He did grab Naz, by the way. And Toby still hasn't spent his money. It's quite interesting what he is trying to do with it. Legolas is an option, but instead he goes for Iwindale. Probably the right play. Legolas at 7,500 minerals is really very rarely worth it. You always want to get him with Mirkwood alone. Oop, Oster overextending slightly. I think Explosive, if he stutter stepped a little bit, might have been able to claim that kill. It's hard to say. And the Minglar also being targeted down. This should be Eastern Thoroughbad going down into the hands of Explosive. Meanwhile, Bonsi well positioned with Kiwi going in for the dive on Erenborn. Good is not in position to respond. Toby does get here in time, but it's a little bit late, and he was probably going to be chased off unless Bonsi immediately recalls. No, he actually forces the immediate recall by Evil. I think Evil could have just turned around and taken that fight, and there was very little he could have done. But instead he forces the Bonsi rotate, slows down that push. Erenborn is still alive. That buys Homie a little bit more living time. Ooh, Asir almost goes down there, but Explosive has to turn back before he gets killed by all the cannons here. Looks like he is going to have to just settle for the spawn kill, not the hero kills. Meanwhile, Kiwi's going in for very, very greedy rotates here. He has his special transport tucked into Mushroom Plateau here, and is going to be forced to fully recall out. He did actually leave a medic, but no, he does not forget about it, so that's good for them. And it's just a bit of mass here, stuck inside the rocks. Looks like he was going for a Mirkwood drop, but got his ARB intercepted. We saw that it was red HP. Meanwhile, Bonsi's going in on Fornos, forces the recall on Speaker again. Kiwi coming in from the back to reinforce Bonsi as well. Has to be very careful of Rogash here. Ooh, 295 HP. Again, if arrows goes off on any of these heroes, they die. We've had about, like, I think we've had 3 hero kill, or possible hero kills with Arvalek arrows this game. This was the 3rd, where Speaker, if he just casted arrows, would have gotten 3 hero kills, but he has not been very consistent with casting that QQ. He had quite a few really good force fields, but never the second Q to back it up. Now, Toby is over here forcing Evil to back off, but honestly, I think Evil, maybe not pushing to both of them, but Evil definitely wins the 2v2. It's just that Bonsi and Kiwi are not coordinating very well. They're not really taking the 2v2 very consistently. Meanwhile, Headcrash is still on the map. I forgot he existed. He hasn't been having a huge impact. I don't know why he's been pushing, really. He might have been pushing Dol Guldur. Being down Lord of Pin of Galen does definitely hurt when you're pushing, but I am kind of confused what he's been doing lately. I mean, he's still pushing from the top right. You generally do not want to be doing this. It's technically, I believe it's a slightly faster time, fully optimized, but it's also much easier to defend as Evil Men. And if Evil Men manages to chase you out, you have to go all the way back. It's generally better to go from the left, I believe. Pioneer finally comes out for Headcrash a little bit late, but it has not been denied by Misty Mountains. That finally means he can actually clear Yower in no reasonable time, but it's also 1 gas Yower, actually, yes. This is the 2nd gas on Yower, so Explosive actually opted to grab the 1st gas for some reason. It's very interesting. Meanwhile, Erenborn does finally go down, and Toby recalls into the central camp area and is recalled onto by Explosive. That was quite an interesting interaction there. Not sure what Toby was trying to do. They'll be coming back in to chase off Misty Mountains. Meanwhile, Headcrash is continuing to poke down the Druife Yower. Dunglin gas has actually started for Explosive. He has swapped off the gas on Yower, probably seeing the focus by Headcrash and deciding to not take the commitment. Last bridge is being taken down by Kiwi. It does actually look like an Evil Ost play here, but Tharbad is still very much reinforced, and Homie is camping it very consistently. So it is going to still be very hard for Evil to claim Tharbad. Unless he mispositions here, Miniglar is pushed forward, so he has to be very careful. Ooh, Explosive taking a ton of cannon shots without dealing much damage in return. Oh, Miniglar might be going down here. It's 36 HP. If he just... Adunabeth Blink would have gotten them, and Adunabeth Blink was off CD. A little bit unfortunate. Lots of drop hero kills this game. Meanwhile, though, Kiwi is pushing down Amonsul. Should be getting it. I don't think anyone's in the area to respond. Toby is out of position. His ARB is over here, I think. Or somewhere. I'm not quite sure. But Kiwi actually backed off from the push, meaning that he didn't get a lot of uncontested pushing down, which is quite odd. He has full HP on his heroes. A little bit more aggressiveness from Kiwi, and I think they claim Amonsul. But now Homie's in the area, so he can't just grab it without defense. Meanwhile, Bonsi's actually taking engagements with Speakers. Volley finally goes off, and we see Volley get its first kill this game, but Arvaleg immediately gets traded out. I think if Speaker recalled out a bit earlier, Arvaleg lives there, so quite unfortunate. First time Volley gets cast this game, and Arvaleg immediately dies. Now, granted, it is a trade, though, which is still not bad for Speaker. And going into the 22nd minute mark, though, we see Fornos almost going down to Kiwi. Kiwi is knocking on his doorstep, and Speaker with only 2 heroes is going to have a hard time defending both Bonsi and Kiwi. Toby's also just nowhere to be seen. Where is he doing? He's actually trying to drop Central Camp into a camping explosive instead of defending his teammate. Very interesting play. Meanwhile, Headcrash is actually going for Dogledor. Again, I'm not really sure if this is the play here. Dogledor is not that relevant. He really needs to be either actually weakening explosives' gas or helping in the north where Speaker is really struggling and Toby's not really making a lot of progress. I kind of noticed this with Toby a lot. Once he loses a few things, he keeps doing high-risk plays as if he has his full strength, but the high-risk plays he does, like dropping into evil men repeatedly, don't work when he's weakened. And he tends to just like keep doing it over and over again, even though he gets pushed back every time. Ooh, Malvagil out of position, gets poked down by Kiwi. Toby does come in to flank. Honestly, I think Amar could have contested that. He didn't need to recall, but it was probably safer to do so. He already grabbed Malvagil. But yeah, I do notice that Toby tends to just get stuck in a rut where he keeps trying the same thing over and over again, and effectively just removes a faction from his team because he's not redoing anything productive. Like, we've been seeing him trying to drop into this area repeatedly, and Explosive has learned it and is playing according to that, just making Toby's progress very slow. You also see Toby do this a lot with Gundabad drops and pushing certain other things. It's a pattern I do notice. And it might work when he has full strength, but in this case, he really doesn't. And he's just basically wasting time. He could have been up here defending his ally, but instead he's been using his ARB to drop over here after all. Abansi and Kiwi over here, finally pushing down Amonsul. I do think this could have died quite a little earlier. Speaker is going to come in to flank Bonsi. Bonsi is only a Rogash Engender, so he doesn't have the most strength. Hobbits do make this a more even fight. Ooh, Witch King diving in very deep. I think he might have been going for the ARB, or it might have just been a misclick. Iwindle, though, goes down to a flank by Explosive. Well positioned by Explosive. Toby is down another hero, and Explosive's KD against Toby now is 3-1, plus a medic, maybe, if you count that. Explosive's mass cover is being stripped down a little bit here, so I don't think he can continue his pushes here, but Tharbad is fully stripped, and there is no deny of Austin heal yet. 1,500 on Homie, 750, 350. Good has no money. They can't actually fund for us to deny this. Looks like, yeah, with Hobbits being bought and Toby, and I'm not really sure how he hasn't been able to make much money, to be honest. And Homie going for Bree. Yeah, the coffers of good are dry. They cannot actually deny this spawn. And once Explosive does finish off Tharbad here, and it does look like he will, I don't see how Homie can really stop this now. That's going to be double Naz for Evil. That's a huge power spike. Ooh, Khan of the Wing Riders does get quite low there. Austere taking tons of damage in this engagement. and actually being forced away. Okay, maybe I was a bit wrong there. I didn't really expect Homie's mass to be so extensive. That's what Bree Mastery does for you. Bree Mass is really nice. I still don't know if it's like fully optimal, but it's definitely not a throw pick, Bree. Definitely not a bad pick. Toby and Homies are actually going in for a double push. Meanwhile, though, Fornos is probably going to go down very soon. If it's just Bossy pushing this, probably not this push. Again, though, Kiwi is just kind of sitting around here, not doing anything. I think Amon Sul could have gone down to Kiwi ages ago, but he does have... I feel like he has a tendency of sitting around with full HP heroes right outside the spawns and wasting precious time and letting Good have the time to get their arbs in position to defend. Now, Homie does actually lose last tier in this engagement. Another hero pickup by Explosive. Explosive has been popping off this game after that Moot Lord loss. Although he did lose that one hero in the early parts of the game, he made up for it very easily. Toby's arb almost goes down there, only 200 HP, so close. I think if maybe Smog was there, but a lot of Smog's dead, so that is not the case. Easton's Rudar is going to finally go down, though, so Headcrash finally going to take down a gas spawn. I guess technically Viewer had one gas, but it was not his focus. But now with Eastern Rudar dead, I think that's Explosive with no real gas. He actually swapped off Dunlin gas and is now swapping back to it. Ginger does get pushed to his death by Kiwi's ball. A bit unfortunate there, that force field. Dunchief does get traded out for Huntmaster, and Toby comes in for the flank, but doesn't do anything with it. Mithrandir actually comes out for Toby, which is a very interesting buy. Wait, how did he actually manage to get Mithrandir? I don't remember him getting Kirdan. Wait. Oh, wait, no. Iwindle can grab Mithrandir. Right. And this looks like it's going to be a one push on Dunlin. So much for Explosive's gas follow-up. While they're being focused down, you have to be very careful. Durin's shield is off CD, so this focus will not be that advisable. And with Toby zoning, Dunlin should be going down here. Although Homie has only one hero left, he will be able to take out the spawn, and I really don't think Explosive should be taking this fight, but he actually runs away with Holder alive, and a Junibeth alive, and Khan alive. Oh, but he does turn around and lose Khan. Emissary is going to come out soon, but... ooh, is the Junibeth gonna go down? Not quite. Toby's actually running all of his heroes through. Is Durin going down? No, not quite. That was a very greedy dive by Toby, but Explosive is very lucky that he's still alive on 3 heroes. Junibeth living 95 or so HP left. Meanwhile, though, in the north, Fornos is dead, so while Toby's been beating down Explosive, really, Explosive still has ended wife after continuous focus by 3 heroes, and now Fornos is dead already without Evilman being full dead, which is not the best position for Good. And also do note that Kiwi, having been playing so safe this game, has lost no heroes, has lost no spawns except Dolgodor, which is kind of irrelevant. So he is full strength. And meanwhile, Explosive still has an okay hero ball. It's comparable to Good's hero balls. Same with Bonsi. And Bonsi still has full mass. So this is starting to become a very dangerous situation for Good. I think Headcrash really needs to step it up and start filling to the carry role of Gondor. Even though he's down lower pin of Galen, he can still contest quite a lot of heroes, but all he's been doing this game is really just AFK pushing, or not AFK pushing, but pushing this undefended spawns, which I'm not sure if that was the right play. A lot of the focus on this game was in this kind of area. Oh, Austin Heal did actually get funded for, so it looks like the double Naz ambitions for Evil have been denied. Instead, Walder goes for Lighthash, probably a good play here. It looks like a late game oriented Evil strategy, and I think it will work out. Evil has a slight advantage in situation, I would say, in this scenario. So Evil does want to just start playing for the late game, try to play into their positional advantage. Their North is completely untouched after all, and Good has very small hero balls, which will make pushing into this very hard. Now, granted, the Ice Marine side of the Evil mains is not really being defended. Kiwi's actually opting to go for kind of a base trade, I suppose you could consider it. Going for a Numinos here. I think if Kiwi is aggressive enough, he will be able to claim the spawn very soon. Vast Confusion is about to go off CD, and he has full HP on all his heroes except Morgamir. Agandar is also added to his ball, so Kiwi has a huge ball. He is scaling up. Now, Karsh does actually go down to focus fire from turrets and heroes, but that's probably irrelevant. Karsh always dies, and he's never really that big of a deal. Meanwhile, Londyre is being pushed into by Explosive, but he has to be careful here. Gets chased off by Homie. Homie, although he's on only one hero, has a ton of really good mass. As long as Breeze up, he still has a very nice mass generator. Meanwhile, Animonos actually hasn't gone down. Kiwi backs away after Karsh losing. I think Kiwi could definitely be playing a lot more aggressive here and take a lot of these spawns. Although, to be fair, because he's playing so safe, he's also never losing heroes, and he always has a full HP on his heroes to do stuff with. Fornos is being poked down by Speaker right now. Meanwhile, Bonsi is actually stalling out Toby despite having only Rogash. Ginger did actually die at Fornos earlier, after all. Legolas comes out. I believe that was cheap friend, Legolas. Yep, indeed. Second gas is up for Mirkwood. I'm surprised that Evil actually hasn't noticed the Mirkwood gas yet. It is quite odd. Meanwhile, Headcrash has actually speed cleared Ice Marine. Nobody was here to defend it, so Lighthash is actually kind of vulnerable now. I was expecting the Amar to actually be here. Meanwhile, Minaglar does get taken out by a very fast emissary of Black Serpent. Actually, it looks like Kobe might have disconnected. He just right-clicked. Oh, never mind. I think that was typing cope. Unfortunate for him. Both mechs also go down. Animonos is going to be right-clicked here. Kamul getting pushed forward is very vulnerable position. I think he might have gone down if the cannon target was applied there. But alas, that was not the case. Explosive is also here to finish off the Hills of Evenden very quickly, but Kiwi actually abandons him for some reason because Toby's going in for, again, dive after dive after dive. This is something I really do notice with Toby. He really loves diving, especially after he's lost stuff instead of before he's lost stuff. I'm not really sure what he's trying to do here. Maybe he was going for an ARB. Wasn't an ARB exposed here? I'm not quite sure. Meanwhile, though, Kiwi is helping Explosive take out the spawn by covering him with mass. Speaker is trying to cannon target, but it's probably not going to be enough. And now Kiwi actually has come here with his heroes as well. Toby is over in the east now. Despite having lost 3 heroes this game, he actually has 5. Again, good funding Toby. We see Toby funding so often. And honestly, he is still quite strong here. Yes, 4 pretty respectable ranged heroes. So that means if Toby didn't lose any, he would have 8 Balas. Kiwi's special transport does go down here. And, ooh, is the ARB going down? Not quite. He didn't actually target with the Witch Cane, so that was a 1 ARB for nothing. I think that could have been a very dangerous situation for Kiwi. Toby did have 4 range heroes, so that does mean he might have been able to click a hero and kill something there. But in the end, it wasn't as bad as it could have been for Kiwi. Getting the ARB would have been very nice for him, though. Now we're seeing a double on Scaffa. Headcrash and the Toby going in for the spawn. There's a lot of mass and a lot of heroes here, so it's probably going to go up, or go down for Evil. Oh, Headcrash's medics going in, but not actually dying to the focus. There was enough mass in the area to defend, or to tank the shots. So I think they're actually going to get this one push. Now, granted, it is no gas Scaffa, but it's still very nice positionally and for the feed. Toby has to be very careful with Legolas here, but if he is, then he is going to escape unscathed. Now, Bree is being pushed down by Kiwi. Homie only having mass to defend here, it is probably going to go down. I don't really see Homie living for much longer with no heroes to his name. He can still get Pellender if he really wants to, but I think Toby is gobbling up all the money on the good side, which honestly at this point is probably the right play. They do need a carry machine, and Toby, even though he lost 3 heroes this game, has been doing plenty and is their best bet. Kiwi pushing again from the right. Homie recalling his mass. I don't think this mass is going to do anything against a 6 hero Amar. It did stuff against a 2 or 3 hero Explosive because he had very little mass himself. But in this case, the Homie mass is just going to all get vaporized. And I don't think Bree's long for this world. Londyre is also not quite long for this world, but it is going to survive at least another push. Or 2 another push, I should say. Lostov actually comes out for Explosive, so he is actually going to get another hero on his ball. He's back up to 4 heroes, which is really that sweet spot where he can do stuff. Although arguably he can still do plenty of stuff with 3. This gives Explosive a 95, 160, and I think 110. So if you add all of that up, it's almost 400 damage right clicks on all his ranged heroes, which is not bad. It is respectable. It gives him enough DPS, raw damage output, to really contest all of good, except maybe Toby. Toby's mass is just decimating all this Bonsi stuff. All of that mass just got shredded by Bonsi. How much supply is he on? He just lost 100, I believe, in that engagement, and he's losing more if he doesn't stop running into good. Toby's heroes on so high level, so many kills each. I think if you look at Galadriel, yep, that's 78. Meanwhile, Headcrash is going in for Enmores, and nobody's here to defend, so they're probably going to actually get the spawn. Where is Evil here? Kiwi's going over here again, but he's actually being stalled by 1 hero and 2 hobbits. Hobby heroes. I don't know how many they would really count for. Like, I feel like Kiwi could definitely afford to be a bit more aggressive here. So many spawns in this area could have died ages ago, and he's wasting valuable time by not really pushing while he has the advantage, and good is knocking on his front step. Austin and Heal is not going down. He's trying to chase down Speaker, but Speaker has mastered the art of the rat, trying to just slow down Kiwi's pushes as much as he can. Explosive, though, is coming in from the south, so it is going to distract Speaker and Homie. Again, like, honestly, I think you can just push into Austin and Heal and just turn around if Speaker comes up to you. You're not really at risk of a significant flank. If you're careful with the cannon targeting, you can just take it. But Kiwi actually has to recall out here without taking out a single spawn here. I think Aimer could have killed these spawns like 20 minutes ago. Or maybe not like the entire area, but like he could have gotten so much more progress. Like Amon Sewell definitely could have died a lot earlier. I think Os and Bree could have died these pushes. I don't think there was any reason he needed to be so scared of just mass. He just needs to like be careful with the positioning. I feel like Kiwi's very risk averse. Like he really doesn't like getting low, and like I have yet to see him low on more than 1 hero. Oh, but Morganmere dies to cannon focus. That is rough for Kiwi. First hero loss of the game, and it's to cannons. That must not be good for his mental. And that's probably going to make him play even more timid than he already is as well. I'm not really sure why he's here, though. I feel like he's grinding money, but with Toby out and about, denying hero on the Chieftain of the Lost off, do you really want to be doing this? Meanwhile, the Barrow Downs is going to be focused down by Explosive and probably going to die very soon. Maybe not this push specifically now the Homie and Speaker are here, but Explosive is actually going to just commit to it. Emissary is being focused down, so he has to run him back as well, but yeah, not quite. Just not quite the DPS. But you can see how Explosive with only heroes and not even mass, and weak heroes at that, is able to almost just take out a spawn despite being attacked by Homie and Speaker. Actually, no, just Homie. Like, that's what Kiwi could have been doing, and he has a lot more stuff to work with. I feel like Evil should be winning this pretty hard, but there's not enough progress being made into West. Meanwhile, Mirkwood really is not being contested, and Toby has actually no, he's had Treebeard for quite a while now. Speaker threatening to buy Tom. He has the money for it, so if he commits to it, that's going to make this push quite a lot harder. Kiwi still being quite timid, although to be fair, this is a pretty bad angle for him. But he is probably going to, yep, he is going to take out this spawn at the cost of 1 medic, though. Good actually did end up focusing medics. Oh, Golden Ball being dived on inside his own spawn. Toby going for greedy dives, but this time it actually pays off. Meanwhile, he's hiding his Arb right here. I think he's hoping they don't see it, but yeah, they do see it. There's no way they don't. Yeah, Kiwi has been a little bit careless with his recalls. He's recalled into Toby twice now. I think Toby could have punished the last one he did as well. Fun Evil Alt. Minhireap comes out, and we see a Artigor coming out for Explosive. Now we have a 5-hero hero ball. Now granted, Chief Lossoff is a demi-hero. He did not get his levels unlocked because of a timely deny by Toby. Looks like Kiwi is going to go again to try and take out Bree. Evil probably wants to finish off Austin and Heal as well in this push if they can spare the time. It is going to be max soon, and once Austin and Heal is also dead, that's Homie out of the game. His mass is still having a significant impact on the game. He was able to chase off the Barrow Downs push because of it after all. R9 Special Transport just get dove on by Kiwi and then taken out. Homie is in the area, but with only mass, I don't think he can do anything to prevent this. Bree does go down here. Austin and Heal is in the area. I would assume that they are going to swap targets to it and take it out on the same push. But no, Kiwi actually recalls back, but there's actually nobody there, so I don't think he needed to recall. Austin and Heal is going to go down soon. And once that's down, it's only Mifflin in the west, and then that's nothing in the west side of the map. And there's a lot of buys for Evil here that they can rebuild off of. Meanwhile, it's Western Gondor in the Mirkwood area that is the main powerhouse of good. Austin Hill is going to go down here. Yep, nobody really has the strength or time to defend it. And Homie is now out of the game. Lighthas final upgrade is coming in soon, and Explosive still has more gas in the form of a Minheriaf if it lives long enough to do that. Mifflin is still a vulnerable spawn that Evil could try and take out. It has no gas though. Toby is actually going for Cause of Doom first. He went for Mirkwood, Elven King's Halls, Lothlorien, now Cause of Doom. Fearing Wood does get bought. We might be seeing a Martel later this game, and Toby forced to recall his ARB. Again, I think unironically he could have just stripped it normally and he would been Karn would have been fully exposed by now. The problem with the right clear on Karn, especially if you're floating ARBs in, I feel like it's a bit of a trap because if your ARB gets chased away, you have made no progress. But if you actually try to strip it, they can't really chase you away preemptively, and if you get chased away, you will have at least made a little bit of progress stripping it. I feel like the time waste is just too much if you're committing to the right side clear on Karn Doom. Although Toby might just be fishing for snipes instead of actually trying to clear the spawn, I'm not quite sure. He has been really greedy with his snipes this game. And it has kind of paid off, kind of hasn't. He did lose that the 3 heroes earlier to Explosive, but he has bounced back after all. Toby getting so much funding this game as well. He has so many heroes. Oh, Witch King does dive in immediately, and I don't think Kiwi was actually focusing any heroes there, so that was for free on Toby's part. But he has lost all his mass cover, so Toby is probably going to lose at least a few cannons on the spawn here. Kiwi's just not even caring about Toby's heroes, just using his mass to body block the Toby heroes while he tries to take as many cannons out as possible. Loses a medic there, I think he recalled out, but it was not quite enough. Unless that was actually Bonsi's medic? No, that was his medic that he lost. I'm not sure. I think he definitely kind of contested Toby a bit more there, but it's very hard since Toby's been getting so much funding. He's back up to 6 heroes, which is very hard to deal with. Toby perpetually just having all the funding on every team. Always fed so much. Oh, I forgot you can't actually press the buttons yourself. But now Kiwi went from a 6-hero untouched hero ball to a 3-hero hero ball. Now he's in a much worse position. He was actually on 7 heroes for a while. I forgot about Karsh. Meanwhile, Explosive and Bonsi over responding to this clear, but NNY still hasn't gone down for Evil. So Explosive is in a much healthier state than he really ought to be in, to be sure. And now Lightash is max, so he can start maxing Minheriaf for that insane gas. Minheriaf gas is oriented in such a way that it gives a ton of mass if it actually lives. But of course, it's not really meant to live, but when it does, it's very insane. The west side of Merc has actually gone down. Head Crash, I'm not sure where his second ARB is, but it's certainly not up here. So if they do a triple on Merc, I think Toby just loses it. I would definitely be keeping extra protection ARBs on Mirkwood if I were good in this case. But it doesn't seem to be happening. Meanwhile, Speaker has actually gotten Ended Wife, so that's finally Ended Wife dead at the 55-minute mark. It's a little late, but nonetheless, that's finally weakened Explosive a bit more. But with Lightash fully maxed, Explosive still has a very steady stream of mass to work with. Witch Priests are also very, very strong elites. They have basically Vicar level DPS on average once they are charged up a little bit. They're just not very good for Alpha Strikes, but Vicars aren't really that good either because of their low range. Headcrash actually going in for the cheeky clear on Karndoom, but being chased away. And again, this is why I feel like you really ought to just strip it normally after you get chased away a few times, because after you get chased away too many times, you're just wasting time. They know you're coming, they can very easily respond to you, and you're wasting valuable time with your ARBs that could be used to do something else. Meanwhile, Headcrash is just staring down Explosive. The problem here is that Explosive has enough heroes in mass so that he actually is a persistent threat, and Headcrash can't just ignore him. Headcrash is also only on 3 heroes right now. Mardil is delayed after all, so it's actually going to be kind of difficult for Headcrash to try and contest this. Meanwhile, Toby is still just taking the 1v1, 2v1 with Bossy and Kiwi. Rogash is still alive for Bonsi, so he has plenty of pushing pressure. Meanwhile, Toby winning the 1v1 against Kiwi, but with Bonsi reinforcements coming in, he is going to be forced to retreat. Headcrash actually pushing out into this area, but I don't know why he's actually trying to push here. There's nothing of value here. I think he's just trying to engage Explosive, but Explosive can just repeatedly rat him, run back to cannons, waste Headcrash's time, and I do think that Evil's definitely outscaling good here. Komi is out of the game. Red is out of the game. Only Toby Elf and Western Gondor Headcrash are really still strong enough to try and contest Evil. But here we see Mirkwood being just gunned down. Toby trying his best to defend against this Banshee Kiwi combined push, but there's just way too much mass for Toby to contest with, even if his heroes can put up a fight against the Evil heroes. Gladriel might be going down here if he's not careful. Luckily for him, though, Bonsi doesn't have a lot of direct damage. This medic is about to die if he keeps running him in, and indeed, Rogas Flash does get that medic. Galadriel also manages to run away with no HP left. This is going to be Mirkwood dead in one push because no good allies are here to help him defend. Kamul got a little bit low there, but really not in much of a threat. For all things Kiwi has been doing this game, he has been doing a very good job at just keeping his heroes always at high HP, so he never really gets caught unprepared. Now with Toby down a medic and low on every single hero and Explosive coming in to finish off the spawn, I don't think Toby has much chance of trying to live here. Mount Graham does get dove on by Western Gondor here, but I really think Headcrash should be just here helping to defend, because Mount Graham is kind of irrelevant in this case. Fornos is not even dead yet. And Fornos is typically killed immediately after Agnar comes out. That's extra Black Numenorians just added to Kiwi's ball that are being uncontested. That there is Mirkwood down. Now they can start going for Elven King's calls and maybe even just corner his ARB. Wait, Toby's on 1 ARB. If Evil can just encircle him, they can force him to just commit and probably hero wipe him. Oh, but Agandar Artagor is going to be almost flanked on by Headcrash. Nice cover by Bonsi. That gank does not succeed. And now Toby is just trapped in here. He's trapped between Elven King's Halls and Mirkwood. Where is Kiwi? Kiwi's also here, so they have a Toby surrounded on all 3 sides. This is going to be a rat hunt now. They're trying to hunt down his ARB, trying to make sure he can't escape from this situation. They have to be careful, though. His ARB can actually escape to the right if he's not careful. Azrael almost goes down. Kiwi just barely missing that kill. But Kernir is probably going to die here. Yep, indeed. And now Evil's on the south side of Mirkwood. The ARB still cannot escape. Bonsi's going to be coming back in after recalling out there. Explosive recalling and even more mass. I mean, Giriath is pumping out so much here, although a lot of it is going to die cannons. And from the south side, Kiwi and Explosive are converging on Toby. Toby has nowhere to go. Headcrash has no strength left to try and support him. This is going to be a 3v1 once Bonsi's back in position to start attacking the spawn. Where is Bonsi, by the way? Oh, okay, he's right here. But the mass cycle just finished, so they are going to actually bring even more mass. Toby recalls into this side, loses Mithrandir, and he's completely trapped. Toby's encircled on all sides. This is going to be Celeborn going down. Toby's down to only 4 heroes now. Martel arrives just as Toby's ball bites the dust. Treebeard goes down, Galadriel, and then almost Durin. Yep, Durin is going to go down now, before Legolas, apparently. Legolas down very soon. Adriel dives into the ball, trying to go for Khamul, and Khamul does get traded out for so many heroes on the good balls, though. That's Adriel, every Toby hero, Legolas, several Arbs. That there is the end of the game. Right as Martel arrives too, and really this is kind of the disadvantage of Martel. The 10-minute timer is really not insignificant, considering the pace of the game. By the time Martel comes out, it might already be a bit too late. So you're basically, it's a delayed 10k investment, and that's why even though the hero itself is so OP, the event overall isn't even that strong, because he's just too vulnerable, and it comes out way too slow. Toby has left the game. Press into Toby throw, they all say. And it's always the most fun engagements when you notice that somebody's ARB is trapped and your entire team goes in to encircle them. It's always good fun and a lot of stressful hero fights, typically for the person who is trapped. Anyways, now that Toby has left and has fully died, I don't think this game is going to go much longer. 40 seconds left. I think Speaker's just trying to do a little bit of moral mass killing. All of Kiwi's mass is apparently a little bit scared of the Argolib Hobbit Ball. And Kiwi says fun game. And very soon, I would assume, Speaker is going to leave. And indeed, Speaker has left the game, and the evil team wins. That was quite an exciting game. I would say, really, Explosive being able to bounce back the way he did really turned the game around for good. And the Toby being full funded, but then not doing as much as you would think with his full funded ball. He was able to contest all of evil, but he wasn't able to push into evil. We didn't see a ton of Toby pushing. Really, like, I think there's always the trap of just going into Karn in a kind of roundabout way and being denied your progress when you're inevitably forced to recall out. And the miners also just, I don't think they really killed Explosive quite fast enough for him not to bounce back, which was also quite unfortunate. And don't get me wrong, Toby did do a lot of heavy lifting, but that was also with like all of the funding on his team, so nonetheless, a very fun game. Thank you for Explosive. Thank you to Explosive for sending this in. It was quite the riot. And with that, this is Larry signing out.